In this video, I'll show you how I grew dill in a DWC hydroponic setup using a 5-gallon bucket and a piece of extruded polystyrene for the lid. I also used an aquarium air pump to aerate the water. First, I filled the bucket with tap water and let it sit for 24 hours. Then I calibrated my pH meter and checked the water's pH. The reading was 7.8, so I added General Hydroponics pH down to bring it down to 5.7. Next, I added the nutrients to the water. For this build, I used Plagron's 2-part fertilizer, component A and B. I poured 20 milliliters of each straight into the reservoir and mixed them thoroughly, 40 milliliters total. After that, I calibrated my EC meter and measured the EC. It came out to 1.0 millisiemens per centimeter. My tap water sits at 0.4 millisiemens per centimeter, so the nutrients raised it by 0.6. For dill, this concentration is more than enough for healthy growth throughout the entire cycle. I didn't add any more nutrients after this. I also made sure the water level in the bucket was high enough for the bottom of the net pot to be submerged. After that, I cut a 1.5 by 1.5 inch cube out of rockwool and made a small hole in it. I soaked the cube in the nutrient solution and dropped 4 seeds inside. I'd already filled the net pot about 2/3 full with clay pebbles. Once I placed the seeded cube into the pot, I surrounded it with a bit more pebbles. That wrapped up the planting process, so I moved the system to its permanent spot and set up an air stone for aeration. By day 10, all the seeds had sprouted and put out their first leaves. By day 17, the seedlings had grown a bit and developed their first true leaves. At the start of the second month, the dill was around 10 inches tall, and by the end of month 2, it was well over 3 feet. By day 65, the dill was already flowering and getting pollinated by insects. It kept growing taller, constantly pushing out new side branches. Throughout the entire growth cycle, I never changed the water in the reservoir. I just topped it off. The air pump did its job, so I had 0 root issues. As I mentioned earlier, I didn't add any extra nutrients along the way, since that initial batch at the start was plenty for normal growth. I just kept an eye on the pH from time to time and adjusted it whenever it dipped below 5.5 or climbed above 6.0. Starting around day 75, I began harvesting small sprigs of dill for cooking. Over the next month, I picked just as much as I needed for my meals whenever I was cooking. The dill kept growing and the seeds started to ripen. I decided to leave the flower heads on to collect seeds for my next grow cycle. In just 2.5 months, I got a massive dill plant that kept me supplied for a long time. As for running costs, this experiment only cost about $1, including nutrients and water. What do you think about this? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.